standing at my terrace looking through the creepy dark night, and inhaling the cool romantic breeze of the night, I thought of the topic Jace had brought up earlier. The Sonoda Axe Murder House. It sounds nice, and I crave to see the magnificent ancient buildings, and the beautiful sight I have always heard of. I finally gave it a second thought and phew. I laid my back on my soft sofa reminiscing on the topic, before I concord to the strong hands of sleep. I am Alejandro Mauricio from Venezuela. I am the outspoken, intelligent world genius who takes pleasure in touring the world. Waking up with my tangled hair and scattered room, I ruffled my hands on my already disheveled hair. One would tell from the fact that I am a bachelor. I don't have a girlfriend, and you won't like to know the cause because that's a story for another day. I headed for Jace's house and I found both Lekan and Jamal there. These three are my badass friends and we have been together for 5 years. You can call us the genius on the tour because that's what we do. What's up, niggas? I said while engrossed in a resounding handshake with the bad boys. Off we go, I screamed. We would be going on our regular recreational visit, and I could see the excitement in their eyes. I never knew you could accept the proposal of going to the fancy old house, Jace said with mouth agape. Yo bro, it's going to be a blast then, let's go tour the island. The Sonoda Axe Murder House, bordering the Caribbean Sea and the North Atlantic Ocean, is a well-known tourist attraction for ghost hunters and horror lovers alike. The site of a gruesome unsolved 1950 murder, in which 6 children and 2 adults had their skulls completely crushed by the axe of an unknown perpetrator, was purchased in 1999, restored to its 1950 condition, and converted into a tourist destination. It costs $628 a night to stay at the old haunted home, where visitors always report strange paranormal experiences, such as visions of a man with an axe roaming the halls, or the faint screams of children, but these strange experiences has been hidden from the world, so people still patronize the place. We alighted from the boat on getting to the North Atlantic border, and we did a good work using our sight to take out the beauty of the island. After trekking for a while, we got to the tourist house, which I have longed to see, and we paid the guardian lodging into one of the rooms. We later headed for the long-aged museum in the place, and I couldn't wait for the rest before dashing into the deeper part of the museum. I stared at the statue of a giant evil spirit in the room, and fear crept into my mind. Turning to the other side of the room, I saw a bridal statue with sword in her left hand, but the only thing that got me scared is her sharp long canine that had blood dripping from it. Seeing all this, I lost track of time, rooted to that very spot for God knows when. I was brought back to life with the voice of Jamal calling me, but something caught my attention when I was about leaving the room. A doll with the costume of an Egyptian demigod locked in a glass rack. I opened the rack with my mind thumping loudly, but to my surprise nothing happened. I left the room in a hurry as Jamal's voice got closer, forgetting to lock the glass door. I joined the rest and we took a good view of the museum, taking series of snapshots, but we didn't go into that same room I had gone into. Tomorrow is going to be super hot, Lekan the nerdy art genius said, and we couldn't help but laugh at his tiny voice. We played loud hip-hop music before going to bed. Alejandro, at midnight, I woke up to see a strange scary whirlwind with creature of unshaped face hovering round my head. I jerked up immediately, wondering why my friends didn't wake up. I tried waking them, but the creature dashed towards my direction. At that moment, the only thing that came to my mind was to run for my life. I am a good fighter, no doubt, but not in the sight of this scary creature. I dashed out of the room screaming at the top of my voice, but it seems nobody was hearing me. There was no iridescent gate in the place I had run into. The only reason I knew I was in a cave was because I had just passed the entrance. The rock wall rose behind me with no ceiling in sight. I knew this was it. This was the false truth I had always heard, what man feared. I had just entered the gate to hell. I felt the presence of the cave as if it was a living, breathing creature. The stench of rotten flesh overwhelmed me. Then there was the voice, it came from inside and all around. Welcome. Who are you? I asked, trying to keep my composure. You know, the thing answered. I did know. You are the devil, I stuttered, quickly losing my composure. Why me? I've lived as good as I could. The silence took over the space as my words died out. It seemed like an hour went by before the response came. What did you expect? The voice was penetrating but patient. I don't know. I never believed any of this, I uttered. Is that why I am here? Silence? I continued, they say the greatest trick you ever pulled was convincing the world you don't exist. No, the greatest trick I ever pulled was convincing the world that there is an alternative, there is no God. I shivered. The cave trembled with the words, I am God. All I could do was listen as the screaming in the cave got louder and louder, interspersed with sounds of violence and horrible, wet thuds and the unmistakable echo of muscle and sinew resisting the force that was slowly tearing them apart. I jibbed as I felt a strong hand holding me. I struggled free and started my marathon race again. I was going deeper into the cave, and I couldn't turn back since the voice seemed to be coming from the entrance. After running for a while, I came face to face with an ugly-looking creature with tentacles, limbs, claws, hands, and 6 blazing eyes. What do I call this? I said to myself. He smirked on seeing me and chills ran down my spine at that moment. What a foul creature with bony limbs and ashen skin. It was bizarre. The kind that snarls as you enter, like a beast about to pounce. The kind that roots you to the spot with its sunken, hypnotic eyes, rendering you unable to flee as you watch the hideous thing uncoil from the shadows. Has your heart started racing though your legs refuse to? Have you felt time slow as the creature crosses the room in the darkness of a blink? Have you shuddered with fear when it places one clawed hand atop your head and another under your chin so it can tilt you, exposing your neck? Have you squirmed as its rough, dry tongue slides down your cheek, over your jaw, to your throat, in a slithering search that's seeking your artery? Have you felt its hot breath release in a hiss against your skin when it probes your pulse, the flow that leads to your brain? Has its tongue rested there, throbbing slightly as if savoring the moment? Have you then experienced a sinking, sucking blackness as you discover that not all vampires feed on blood, some feed on memories? Well, have you? Maybe not. These were the questions flooding through my mind at that moment. I jerked from my thoughts immediately. I heard his horrific laughter that threatened to burst my eardrum open. I trembled but quickly summoned the courage to speak for myself. Why did you choose to torment me? Why me? Ha 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 ha. You think you can go far to the extent of finding the mystery behind my existence? The mistake you have ever done was bringing me back to life, and I am ready to destroy the war, LD, he said with rocks shaking. That moment, he changed into the demigod I had seen earlier. They say you are the chosen one, he said, but I am the demon himself. I have lived with you for long and has known your thoughts and your all. Wait. How stupid of me. He said I brought him back to life. How? Oh. I remembered immediately. I saw it change to the Egyptian demigod I had seen earlier. Oh. I didn't close the glass rack before leaving that room, and now my life is at stake. I will destroy the war, LD. His voice came in a resounding echo as he changed back to the scary creature, followed by his horrific laughter. Before I could speak up again, he dashed towards my direction, and I summoned the courage to face him squarely. We wrestled to the point that he started shifting and reshaping into many other creatures that I never knew of. They all have dark, smelly liquid oozing from their mouths. At this moment, I couldn't figure out the real demon. The last thing I heard was the faint sound of Lekin calling my name before my eyes finally closed. His companions found him all wounded and stabbed in the chest, an apparently strange inflicted wound, called 911, and Alejandro was taken to a nearby hospital before being helicoptered to Creighton University Medical Center in Omaha. The Montgomery County Sheriff's Office said Alejandro suffered the strange inflicted injury at about 12:45 a.m., which is around the same time the 1950 axe murders in the house began. Jace's point of view, POV. I found his name in the wet cement, but it was written in reverse and from below. But has never spoken publicly about what occurred that day, because I feared greatly for what might befall me if I speak. Alejandro has not woken up. It seems fate has to decide for him in the pathway between life and death. He is strong and will fight it off to live again, because there is always a light at the end of the tunnel.